My name is Friar Alejandro. I'm 24 years old. I'm a conventual Franciscan friar and a student at the Catholic University of America. I study painting, and I am the only friar in the order who is taking painting as a career. I grew up in a small town in Colombia. I moved to the United States around 12 years ago. As a child, I was always fascinated about the military life because my grandfather was in the military and my stepfather was in the military. But then I fell in love with painting. There was a show on TV on Bob Ross.
Let's do that.
And there's like, I want to do the same thing that he does, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. When I was in high school, we learned about the contemporary artists like Picasso, Salvador Dali, Frida Kahlo, and Diego Rivera. So all of them influenced my early work. I did a lot of Cubism. I did a lot of pop art. I was influenced by Andy Warhol. I did a lot of Surrealism. So initially I started painting like a modernist. I did enjoy it. Once I started getting serious in my faith, I noticed that Cubism or Surrealism was empty. Once I discovered the classical works, the old masters, that's when I saw that these paintings had a soul. And it seems that we're looking at a Rembrandt or looking at a Titian or Giuseppe Rivera, you can see the suffering or the joy or just the longing to be with the divine. This soulfulness of classical works of old masters is my focus for my artwork because I want to imitate them. I don't want to copy them. I want to learn from antiquity, and the old masters teaches painters that. To paint for the divine, to paint to show human emotion, to paint so that you can connect with that painting. I've been with the friars in total, it's been 5 years. When I joined the friars, my initial thought was to become a priest because everyone becomes a priest when they join a seminary or religious community. And I didn't know that there were brothers who did other things, that they could serve the church without being a priest, without bringing the sacraments. So there are brothers who are chefs, doctors or nurses, or they just do simple work, such as working in construction or dedicating their whole life in prayer. So for me, it was like, I have this vocation of being an artist. Although I love the priesthood, I wasn't happy. I just feel really, really drained and sad. And then I talked to this friar, and the friar told me, you know, brother, you need to look into your talent. Search what makes you happy. Yes, the religious vocation makes you happy, but if your talent, your artistic talent that you have makes you also happy, you need to pursue that. Because if you don't do it, then you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life. So I took that to prayer, took that to discernment, and once I asked permission to study art and started taking art courses at CUA, I felt more relief, I felt at peace. Even the friars told me, like, yeah, last year you were so like angry and sad, but now this year you look really happy because you're doing what you love to do. I wish I had more time to paint. I wish I can paint every single day, but I have other work to do, whether it's in the community or in my own academic studies. So that kind of intervenes with my paintings. When I have to work quicker in my work, I do listen to some rap music. I find the beat to be uplifting, so I start painting faster, and it just helps me with speed, especially when something's going to come up for a critique when a painting needs to be done. I've been taking courses of philosophy, math, and a literature course, which in itself, they're really good. Some of them are really hard. I'm not a math person or philosopher. It becomes a challenge because as my mind focuses, oh, I need to finish this paper, I need to finish this math problem, and I'd rather be painting, thinking about the next idea than doing math. My senior thesis focuses on figurative painting and portraiture. I use a limited palette. The palette is called the Apelles palette. Apelles was a painter in the Greek era. So he used the traditional colors that other artists were using, which is yellow ochre, vermilion red, Mars black. But during that time, titanium white didn't exist, so I'm sure they were using a form of white. Painting in a limited palette is really hard because when I create a different flesh tone, sometimes the flesh tone can be too green, sometimes the flesh tone can be too red. So I have to find that perfect balance of being able to create the flesh tones according to what I see on the person, according to what I see on myself. In order for me to resolve the issues of mixing colors, I talk to the art professor who helps me how to mix them. He tells me you need to use more blue or you need to use more red. So that helps a lot. I usually try to connect prayer with my painting. I find it really helpful to ask God for inspiration, since God is the divine artist who created us in image and likeness. Sometimes when a reading from the gospel is read, there's usually an image that captivates me. With that, I created an image in my head, which I want to paint. So divine inspiration helps me to come up with new ideas. I've been doing a lot of self-portraits. One self-portrait, which is a giant painting, is like a glorified kitsch painter. The other one is a portrait of me being depicted as Sisyphus. I really like the story. Sometimes we can be slaves to our technology or to our own sins. I'm working on the self-portrait wearing an animal skin, because my father is 100% indigenous from Colombia, so I wanted to bring that heritage to my own life. I'm blind because as a personal story, I have never seen my father, so I don't know how he looks like. I never seen my father because as an indigenous don't mix with other races. They want to retain that indigenous blood. So my mom is mixed with Spanish blood and indigenous blood. And so for them to be living together was a controversy. So my mother got ostracized from the community, and I was ostracized with her. So that's the reason that I do not know who my father is. I know he's around, but I just never met him. What I love about painting is, one, is smelling the chemicals. I know they're bad for my health, but just being able to have that contact of smelling chemicals, it's just, I don't know, it's a different level. It's different from working digitally. I think digitally is, I don't know, for me personally, just boring. I need to feel the paint. I need to get dirty. My habit is so stained with gesso and paint. So I like to see that mess. I like to work with messy things. And I enjoy painting because it's just so relaxing. I can spend hours just working on a single thing. I feel sometimes that I just go out of my time and space and just I'm focused on painting. And it's just, one is fun, and two is really a discipline and challenging. And I love challenges. I think with our modern technology, we're so bombarded with so many images. I want people to look back to antiquity. I want them to see, oh, modern art is not the only art. I would like them to be moved spiritually, philosophically, psychologically, and reading between the lines of a painting, because a painting tells a story. And telling a story is such an important, because it's part of our humanity is to tell stories. And telling a story through a good painting is really important. And that's what I want people to see in my art, that they will to construct a story in their minds and trying to figure out what does this mean, and why does he do it, and how is this affecting me. I never thought that I would be a friar and an artist. When I joined the seminary, we had basically our life figured out. It's like, okay, you will get ordained in 2022. So technically I should have been ordained a deacon this year, and the next year a priest. So I thought, oh, by 2020 I'll be getting ready for my diaconate ordination. But all that changed because God wanted me to pursue my artistic talent. So I never saw it coming. Everything just came as a surprise, and I thank God that happened.
Well, here's what I know about Michelangelo. He painted on the ceiling, carved up some stone. He built some beautiful library stairs and gave St. Peter a dome. He left Moses sitting in Rome. Well, I wonder how I can be more like him. But where I see a cracked ceiling, he sees the birth of man. Mama said I ought to sit down and put together some sort of plan. 'Cause that's how Michelangelo began.